SK Vibemaker.
What a couple years for you.
Oh, it's been so mad.
Mad. I mean, how would you explain it? Because you're definitely tipped for just massive things. I mean, everyone just loving you at the moment. You're the queen right now.
Oh man, it's how would I explain it? I mean, it's been challenging. The first year was strange, but the past year has just been so incredible and really surprising, to be honest.
Some people might understate it as well, like a lot of London love for someone who's not even from London.
Yeah.
Leicester, Birmingham,
man.
as well. Break down like sort of the musical history so far, because you know you've been doing this from young. Signed a record deal at 13, writing songs from 11, time in America. Kind of break down some bits that I missed.
So I mean, I get so I signed at 13 after like 2 months of being an open mic singer, basically. And this is like all in Leicester, so I'm still in school in Leicester. I moved to Birmingham when I was 14 to go and try and study acting. Mm-hmm. And then like kind of through that, I was just like, I was writing songs. I was working with the label. I was just kind of developing, basically. Mm-hmm. And then when I got to like 18, I finished school. And at that point I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. I moved to London. Everything kind of just went wrong. I moved too quick, definitely way too quick. I wasn't ready. I had no money, and I was just like bare confused, basically. So I moved back to Leicester, which was strange. And it took me a year to kind of get round and get back on my feet. And then I wrote my debut single, Sober. Mm-hmm. I put that out last year, and then in a time from when that came out to now, things have just kind of taken a quick rise.
A period of patience, and it's definitely paying off.
Definitely 7 years, man. But it's nice, and now that I'm in this place, it doesn't feel like 7 years at all.
Because you go into acting school, you know, you want to be an actor at first, right?
Yeah.
How did you sort of choose which one? Because you know, no looking back right now, definitely very hugely tipped, very talented vocalist, but you could have been doing acting right now.
Yes.
So what veered you away from the acting world?
I wasn't that good.
Say no more.
I wasn't that good, and also it was like, you know, the acting world is so different. Like, you finish training and then everybody says you need to now go and train for 4 more years. A lot of people don't get into those schools, and it's a lot of, you know, it's a lot of work, but not the kind of work that I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And with music, it's a lot of work, but I enjoyed it and I loved it. And I think it was a strategic decision to not study acting. No, to not study music, because I thought if I study music, I'm gonna hate it. Because I just can't deal with people telling me how to write songs and So I actually think that I was doing it to make sure that I still had the love for music at the end of my course. I was just better at music.
I've heard some people saying your name kind of like a little bit different as well. Like,
have you?
Mahalia.
Mahalia. Oh, you know, or there's in the US it's Mahalia.
Cheese.
I kind of like that.
Does that upset you much?
No. You can't. No, I think the kind of average way of saying it is Mahalia. Uh-huh. And it's Hebrew, so it's like Mahalia. Mm-hmm. I think my way is a bit strange, but then my way is like Mahalia Jackson.
Yeah, and that brings me on to, I wanted to talk about that later, but let's talk about it right now. I know you're kind of influenced by a lot of like retro soul, classic soul. Yeah. And if anyone does a little Google on Mahalia Jackson will come up, who's like a gospel soul singer from way back. Who never really got that much credit. So was she a big influence or inspiration or reason behind you having this name?
I mean, so basically the story is that one of my mum's closest friends, her daughter's called Mahalia, and she's named after Mahalia Jackson. So I was kind of named after all of them. And the thing about Mahalia Jackson actually is, growing up, I didn't know many of her songs. I just knew her voice. Mm-hmm. And that was what it was that my mum would play her voice to me on the record player just so that I could hear her voice. So I always knew her voice growing up. But like, I mean, influences wise, it was like, in my house, it was Mahalia Jackson, Aretha, Billie Holiday, Amy Winehouse, Lauryn Hill, Erica, Tweet. Like loads of really amazing.
Don't forget Kate Nash.
Kate Nash,
I know you've definitely ranted about Kate Nash being a fan of Kate Nash, right?
Well, because people like Kate Nash, Adele, Corinne Bailey Rae, I found those girls later. So I kind of found those girls when I was kind of just before my teens, and that, like, with them I found them on my own, whereas with the other women that I mentioned, that was more a case of my mum playing stuff in the house and me hearing it in the car and like all that kind of stuff.
And a class of British vocalists who definitely have preserved the Britishness, because you have a lot of vocalists coming out over the last, you know, forever trying to sound American.
Yes,
like was that high on the priority list for you to preserve the Britishness? Is that something you think about?
Yes,
or even care about?
Yeah. And I think what it is that, you know, out there as well, they love it. Like I just did like a really small North American tour, and they want to hear that. They want to hear you speak, and they want to hear you sing in your accent, and they laugh with you, and they sing it along. And I think it's really important. I think it's really important that everybody in the world knows where you come from.
Now, we just played I Wish I Missed My Ex. You were surprised by the success of that song, right?
I was, yeah.
I mean, come on. Really?
I mean, I loved it, and I knew that it was a banger, but I didn't, in my mind, I never thought that people would love it as much as they did. But it's done really, it's done sick.
I mean, an unorthodox perspective on a homage to like a prior relationship from true stories as well, right?
Yeah.
Damn, I mean, you definitely write from a different stance.
Sick.
Yeah, like
I like to think I do.
Yeah. And I mean, you've obviously been writing for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, to sharpen that pen to, you know, really become a good songwriter.
Yeah. What
do you think were some of the key things along the way? Because, you know, great songwriters are very in a real minority.
Yes, I think a lot of it is listening to a lot of great songwriters, like just someone like Carole King or like Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton was huge for me, and I just thought that she was the most amazing songwriter. And the thing about songwriting is like not letting anybody take your writing and change it. And that's what it was that I would want to say something a certain way, and another songwriter would be like, no, say it this way. It's classic this way. And I was like, I don't want it to be classic. I want it to be my version of classic. And so I think that was the most important thing, was just staying true to myself and not letting anybody change it.
Strong-headed. Are you a person who takes you're Taurian? May. Are you May?
May the 1st, man.
So many Taurians in my family, man. Let's not talk about that, because I don't even believe in star signs that much, but there are some patterns.
Yeah, man.
So hard-headed though, maybe difficult to like give feedback to, would you say?
To me, feedback I take quite well now. Now I'm older. That I think comes mostly just with like emotional maturity. But no, I think I take feedback quite well. And constructive criticism, but only if it's constructive.
Straight up saying.
Criticism, I'm just like, why are you giving me that?
And at least have some qualification to give me some of that as well.
Yeah. I'm really funny about, well, this business is kind of full of a lot of people who like to say a lot without any real intention. And I have a problem with that. Because I'm like, well, I don't mind you telling me your opinion. I mind if I don't feel like there's any weight behind it, basically.
Now, you had a project way back, kind of a bit underground, Diary of Me.
Yeah.
And on that project, which I was listening to, you definitely spoke about, on a song called Mahalia, about your mixed heritage and your struggles as you were growing up.
Yeah.
You grew up in Leicester before Birmingham, right? And you was like one of the few people that looked like you, sort of in your class and stuff. Yeah. How was that? Because, you know, I don't know if people really understand the struggles and the difficulty with that. How was it with your plight?
It's definitely, it stunts you, because you feel like you're always having to ask questions because you don't understand things. And, I guess it's a really interesting topic, and I hope that one day I can speak on it more. I feel like, when you're a minority in any situation, it's so strange. And it's strange because you feel like you're apologizing for a lot, and you feel like you are trying to live up to other people's expectation of what you should be. And so I found that really hard as a kid. But I think I have really great parents who always explained stuff to me, who always made me feel like it was cool and that everything was fine. But it was definitely, it's hard, isn't it? It's like, if people don't get you, they're not trying to get you. They just want you to fit in with them. And so when I was in Leicester, I was definitely too black for the white kids, definitely, which is fine. And I got over it, and I kind of just slotted in however I wanted to. But then when I went to Birmingham and I went to this new school, it was the opposite. And I was by the black kids, I was called white girl, which is, again, fine. But it's just like, what can you do in that situation? It's like, for me, the way I go through life is I'm like, you know, if you want to come for my personality or tell me that you don't like me as a person, that's fine. But when you come for something that I can't change, then I've got nothing to say to you, because it's like taking out somebody because of their genetics is just wild to me. So yeah.
Wild talk, yeah. Wild talk. Now, Seasons EP was 5 songs.
It was
5 stages of a relationship.
Yes.
Putting your heart and soul on the line.
Yes.
For everybody to hear all your vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
Was that easy? Was that hard?
No, it wasn't easy. And I had openly said that I wanted to be more vulnerable with the music that I was writing, because I felt like, you know, everybody's kind of used to me talking about how I don't care and I'm over it, and, you know, like, whatever, you're an idiot, go away. But I wanted people to feel that part of me that was like, this actually hurts. And so with Seasons, you know, I am a lover of love, and I am a bit of a romantic. Not even a bit, actually. I'm a huge romantic. But
I think we can tell.
Yeah, 100%. And I've kind of stopped saying hopeless romantic, because I don't think it's hopeless. I think it's amazing. But being a romantic just means that you're just bare in tune with like everything around you and all of your emotions. And so with Seasons, when I was writing it, I wanted people to understand me in love, but in all different ways. And so that's what it was. It was just me being really honest.
You've been in love a few times, right?
Yeah, man.
Heartbreaking, heartbroken.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, maybe not in love, but I've definitely had for a 20-year-old woman, I've definitely had a few moments. Yeah.
Cool person, singer-songwriter, sick vocalist, and musician.
Yes.
Play the guitar.
I do.
I want to learn how to play the guitar soon. Still,
You
one time
should.
in life.
You
I mean, was it
definitely
easy for
should.
you to learn? Have you been playing the guitar long?
I think because I started learning young, it was probably a lot easier. I started at like 10. But then I think, you know, as I got a bit older, I kind of went through that rebellious, stubborn phase of like from 15 to 18, where I was like, I'm not playing no more. Which now I'm annoyed at, because it's like now I feel like I'm going back and I'm having to learn things that I could have learned easier when I was younger, when I had more time. But yeah, I play the guitar.
I mean, sick on the vocals, singer-songwriter,
Thank
obviously,
you.
as well. But like, when was the point in which you thought that you found your voice and identity as an artist, as a musician, as a singer?
Probably in the past year.
Really? Only in the
man.
last year?
Yeah, it takes a while. I think, you know, when you sound young, you're kind of under a magnifying glass, and everyone's looking at you everyone's looking at you for you to know your sound. And I found that really hard. My dad used to put up this white sheet in the dining room, and it said, "What is Mahalia?" And he said, when you can answer that question, I want you to come and write everything down. And I never could. And it was like 5 years, man. And that piece of paper was up on the wall for years. And he was like, can you answer it yet? And I was like, no. And he was like, okay, cool. Then go. And when you can answer it, I want you to write it down. And then one day I did. And I was like, I think I was 18. So it took me 5 years to be able to answer the question.
Shouts to Dad, man, doing
Shouts
a good
to
job,
Dad,
man.
Yeah, he's sick.
Surprise me. A song which is about relationships and you being surprised in the disappointments.
Yeah.
Is that I've
Totally right.
I've got it.
Yes.
Was that easy or hard to write? Because this is true stories, right?
Yeah, man. Surprise Me was this year. Surprise Me is a really recent hurt, I guess. Surprise Me, I feel like, you know, for me, I was talking about a long distance relationship, but I feel like a lot of people can probably take from it what they hear. Like, I guess it's just about like you expecting something of somebody and them letting you down. Yeah, man. Surprise Me was hard to write, but I wrote it with two of my favorite boys, and it was me and my boy Alistair and my producer Felix. So we had a sick time. So it was a nice process, just a hard song to write.
international Mahalia. That's what happens when you're international, doing shows all around the world. So you spent quite a lot of time out in the States as well, songwriting and stuff,
man.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, for a young singer, songwriter, how does that happen? Because that's like follow the yellow brick road kind of.
Yeah. I think the States is an important territory to go and experience, even if you don't ever break it, which is rare. Not everybody does. But I think if you go and you see it and you just be around people for a bit. I mean, I went to Miami. Miami was my first spot, and I went there 3 years ago to work with 2 producers. And that was my first taste of it. And then I went to LA for the first time this year.
SK Vibemaker.